The planet Xinor was a world of silver skies and whispering forests. Its people, the Xenorians, were tall, slender beings with crystal-like skin that shimmered under the twin suns. They lived in harmony, guided by the traditions of their ancestors and the natural rhythm of their planet. Every Xinorian child, upon reaching their 10th cycle, was expected to find a bondmate, a friend and partner who would grow with them, share knowledge, and walk together through life's long journey. It was a sacred tradition. To be without a bondmate was to be alone, and on Xenor, loneliness was considered a curse. But among the bright children of the village Aru, there was one who had no partner. His name was Karev, and he was different. Karev's crystal skin did not shine like the others. Instead of glowing shades of blue or gold, it was dull gray, as if the light refused to touch him. His eyes were darker too, and when he spoke, his voice carried a trembling tone that others found strange. The elder said he had been born under a silent moon, a rare event that made him unlucky in the eyes of his people. And so, no one wanted to bond with him. Every morning, Karev walked to the learning hall, carrying his small data slate close to his chest. He tried to smile when he saw other children playing in pairs, but inside, he felt the ache of being invisible. When lessons ended, he sat alone under the shadow of the great lumina tree, where tiny light beetles danced in the air. He would whisper to them sometimes, pretending they were his friends, but even the beetles eventually flew away. One day, a great event shook Xinor. The sky split open with a trail of fire, a ship entering the atmosphere. The elders gathered on the high cliffs as the vessel descended near the capital, its hull marked with symbols no Xinorian could read. It was the first human ship to ever land on Xinor. The humans came not as conquerors, but as explorers, traveling through the Galactic Exchange Program, a peaceful mission to learn and share knowledge between worlds. They were strange and fascinating, short compared to the Xenorians with soft skin and round faces, and a language that was both sharp and musical. Among them was Lieutenant Maria Evans, a young human biologist. She was kind, curious, and always carried a scanner in her hand, studying everything from the glowing plants to the sound of Xinorian rivers. But what caught her attention most were the children, their crystal bodies, their glowing laughter, their intricate social bonds, and one day, while exploring the village of Aru, she saw Karev sitting alone under the lumina tree. Maria approached slowly. Karev looked up, startled. No one usually came near him. "Hello there," Maria said gently, kneeling so her eyes met his. "My name's Maria. What's yours?" He blinked, unsure if he should answer. "I am Karev. Of Aru." "That's a beautiful name," Maria smiled. "Do you mind if I sit here with you?" He hesitated but nodded. Maria sat down beside him, studying the strange texture of his crystal skin. "You don't glow like the others," she said softly. "Is that normal?" Karev looked down. "It means I am broken," he whispered. Maria's heart sank. "Who told you that?" "The elders. The others. Everyone." For a long moment, Maria didn't know what to say. In her studies, she had learned that Xenorians valued light as a sign of spiritual harmony. The brighter the glow, the stronger the soul. But to call a child broken for being different, that was something she couldn't accept. "Well," she said finally, "where I come from, being different is what makes you special." Karev turned to her, puzzled. "Special?" "Yes," Maria smiled. "On Earth, we say that the stars don't all shine the same. Some are brighter, some dimmer, but all of them are part of the sky." He thought about that. "So even if I don't shine, I can still be a star?" Maria nodded. "Exactly." From that day onward, Maria visited Karev whenever her duties allowed. She taught him about Earth, about oceans so vast you couldn't see the end, about creatures that swam, flew, and walked, and about how humans helped each other survive even when they were scared or alone. In return, Karev showed her the secrets of Xenor. He taught her how to listen to the lumina tree, how to read the wind patterns that whispered of incoming storms, and how to find the hidden nests of glow beetles that lived deep inside the forests. The villagers watched them from afar. Some whispered disapproval. "It is not right," said one elder. "The human meddles with one who is cursed." But others were quietly curious. Maria didn't seem to be cursed. In fact, wherever she went, she brought laughter and warmth. Slowly, the younger Xenorians began to approach her. They asked her about Earth, about humans, about what it felt like to live under one sun instead of two. But Karev always stayed closest to her side. For the first time in his life, he felt wanted. Weeks passed and Maria noticed something strange. Karev's dull skin had begun to change. It wasn't glowing brightly like the others, but faint lines of silver light now ran along his arms and neck, as if the light inside him had awakened after a long sleep. One afternoon, she asked him, "Karev, has this ever happened before?" He shook his head. "Never. I feel warm inside, like the suns are watching me," Maria smiled. "Maybe they finally see who you really are." Karev tilted his head. "Who am I, Maria?" "You," she said softly, "are proof that light comes in many forms." But one night, something unexpected happened. As Maria worked in her research tent, the sensors detected an unusual energy pulse coming from the forest, from the lumina tree itself. She grabbed her scanner and ran outside, following the flickering light that lit up the trees. When she reached the clearing, she froze. Karev was standing beneath the lumina tree, surrounded by a glowing aura. His entire body shimmered with silver light, brighter than any Xynorian she had ever seen. The roots of the tree pulsed with the same glow as if responding to him. The other villagers soon arrived, gasping in awe. Even the elders stared, speechless. Karev looked frightened. "I didn't mean to. The tree just called to me." Maria stepped forward, her eyes wide. "Karev, it's okay. Don't be afraid." The elders began whispering rapidly among themselves. The High Elder, an ancient Xenorian with deep gold skin, approached and studied Karev carefully. This is impossible," he murmured. "The lumina tree has never responded to one so dull." Maria frowned. "He was never dull. You just never looked close enough." The High Elder's gaze softened. For the first time he seemed uncertain. "Perhaps we were wrong." As the night deepened, the lumina tree continued to glow, its light spreading across the entire valley. The people of Aru knelt in wonder as the silver radiance washed over them. Karev stood at the center, trembling but smiling faintly. Maria stood beside him, her heart filled with pride and awe. She didn't yet understand what had happened, but she knew one thing for sure. This was only the beginning. The night after Karev's awakening was the brightest in the history of the village Aru. The lumina tree, which had stood quiet for hundreds of cycles, glowed with powerful silver light that reached far across the plains of Xynor. The people stood together, whispering in awe. Some believed it was a sign of blessing. Others feared it was a warning. Karev stood in the center of it all, the silver glow slowly fading from his skin. He felt weak but peaceful, as if something deep inside him had finally opened. Maria stayed close to him, supporting his shoulders when he swayed. The High Elder, his golden light dim under the brightness of Karev's silver aura, looked thoughtful. "This child," he said softly, "has touched the heart of the planet. Such power belongs only to the ancient ones. We must understand how this is possible." Maria glanced at him. "Then let me study him. I came here to learn. Maybe together we can find the truth." The elder hesitated but finally nodded. "You may try, human. But be careful. Xynor's secrets are not easily shared." For the next few days, Maria and Karev spent long hours in her small field lab near the lumina tree. She scanned his body with gentle devices, studying the strange patterns of energy running under his crystal skin. The readings were like nothing she had ever seen. "Karev," she said one morning, showing him the holographic results, "your body is carrying energy frequencies that match the lumina tree's roots. It's like the planet itself flows through you." Karev's eyes widened. "You mean I am part of Xynor?" "In a way, yes," Maria replied. "You might be connected to something ancient, maybe something your people forgot long ago." He looked down, deep in thought. "The elders always said I was cursed. Maybe the curse was really a connection." Maria smiled. "Maybe. On Earth, we call that being gifted." As the days passed, the villagers began to change their behavior. The same children who once avoided Karev now followed him curiously. They wanted to see his silver glow and hear him talk about the human who became his friend. Some even asked him to teach them how to speak a few Earth words, laughing as they tried to copy Maria's accent. For the first time, Karev felt accepted, but Maria noticed that not everyone was happy. The High Elder visited her one evening as the twin suns were setting. His gold skin shimmered weakly in the fading light. "Human," he said slowly, "your arrival has changed things too quickly." "Karev's gift may not be safe," Maria frowned. "What do you mean?" The luminatree's energy is sacred. If it awakens again, it may draw attention from far beyond Xinor. The galaxy is full of those who hunger for power. The child could be in danger. Maria crossed her arms. Then we protect him. I won't let anyone hurt him. The elder studied her closely. You care for him like one of your own kind. Maria smiled softly. He is one of my kind now. Maybe not by species, but by heart. That night, Karev had a dream. He saw himself standing in a vast white field surrounded by floating lights that whispered in a language he didn't understand. At the center stood a figure made of pure silver, neither male nor female, tall and shining. Do not fear your light, the figure said in a gentle voice. It is the memory of Xinor itself. Karev tried to ask who they were, but the figure only pointed toward the horizon, where a storm of darkness was growing. The silence comes again, the voice said. The world sleeps and only you can wake it. He woke up with a gasp, sweat glistening on his crystal skin. The silver light flickered faintly under his surface as if echoing the dream's warning. In the morning, Maria found him sitting under the lumina tree, staring at the sky. Couldn't sleep? She asked gently. He shook his head. The light spoke to me. It said the world sleeps. What does that mean? Maria thought for a moment. Maybe it means something old is hidden, something the Xenorians have forgotten. Sometimes planets keep secrets from those who stop listening. Karev frowned. But why me? Why would the world talk to me? Maybe, Maria said softly, because you're the only one who still listens. Later that week, Maria received a transmission from her base camp near the capital. The message came from Commander Lewis, the human officer in charge of the Galactic Exchange Program. Lieutenant Evans, the voice crackled through the communicator. We've been picking up strange energy readings from your sector. They're massive, enough to power a fleet. What's happening over there? Maria hesitated. She knew telling them the full truth might bring unwanted attention to Karev. Just environmental phenomena, sir. Local flora reacting to magnetic flux, she said calmly. Lewis didn't sound convinced. Be careful, Lieutenant. The science division wants samples. Don't take unnecessary risks. After the call ended, Maria sighed. She looked toward the forest where Karev played with the other children. She knew the humans would come soon. Scientists, soldiers, and machines. They would not see Karev as a boy. They would see him as a resource. That evening, Maria told Karev the truth. The humans from my ship may come here soon. They'll want to study the Lumina tree, and maybe you. Karev's face paled. Will they take me away? I won't let them, Maria promised. But if they learn about your connection, they might try. So we need to understand your power before they arrive. Karev nodded seriously. Then we must go to the heart of the tree. The light said that's where the truth sleeps. Maria blinked. You mean inside the Lumina tree? He nodded again. The roots go deep. I can feel them calling me. The next morning they prepared quietly. Karev led Maria to a hidden path behind the tree, a narrow tunnel that glowed faintly from within. It was like walking into the veins of the planet itself. The walls pulsed with soft light and a low hum filled the air. As they moved deeper, Maria's scanner went wild. These readings are incredible, she whispered. It's like pure life energy, something between biology and electricity. Karev touched the glowing wall. It feels alive. Finally, they reached a vast underground chamber. In the center stood a massive sphere of light, floating just above the ground. It pulsed slowly in rhythm with Karev's heartbeat. This is it, Maria said, her voice shaking. The heart of Xinor. Karev stepped closer. It knows me. The sphere brightened, and the same silver figure from his dream appeared inside the light. Maria gasped. Who are you? She asked. The figure's voice echoed gently. I am what remains of Xinor's first consciousness. Long ago, our world spoke through light. We shared our thoughts with those who listened. But as time passed, the people forgot and the light went silent. Only one born under the silent moon could awaken it again. Karev trembled. That was me. Yes, said the being. You are the bridge between Xinor and those who come from the stars. The human beside you carries curiosity, the spark that once connected all minds. Together you can bring balance, Maria's eyes filled with wonder. But what happens if others find out? The choice will be yours, said the figure. Guard the light or share it. But remember, knowledge brings both creation and chaos. The silver glow faded, leaving only the heartbeat-like pulse of the energy sphere. Maria and Karev climbed back to the surface as the twin suns rose again. The village was waking up. The air felt different, lighter, almost sacred. Karev looked stronger now, his skin softly shining even in daylight. Maria placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You were never broken, Karev, you were chosen." He smiled shyly. "Maybe the world just needed a human to remind it." She laughed. "Maybe it needed both of us." Far above, in orbit, the human ship adjusted its course, heading toward the village. Soon, Maria knew others would arrive. Scientists, explorers, maybe even soldiers. And when they did, she would have to decide how much truth to tell them. But as she looked at the young Xynorian beside her, glowing softly like a small star, she felt something she hadn't felt in years, and hope. Because perhaps, for the first time in the galaxy's history, a human and an alien child had found a friendship strong enough to awaken a world. Morning came quietly to the village of Aru. The twin sons of Xinor climbed over the silver hills, painting the lumina tree with soft golden light. Birds with crystal wings sang between its branches, and the air shimmered with peace. But deep in Maria's mind there was unease. She knew the human ship had changed its orbit. Within a few hours they would land near the village. And when they did, the quiet life she and Karev had known would never be the same again. Karev stood beside her, his silver glow faint in the morning light. "They are coming, aren't they?" he asked softly. Maria nodded. "Yes, my people are curious. They will want to see the tree, the energy, and—" She hesitated. Karev's eyes lowered. "Will they take me away?" Maria looked at him firmly. "Not if I can stop them." He gave a small smile. "You always protect me," she smiled back. "You're my friend, Karev. Friends look out for each other, no matter what world they're from." By noon, a silver transport ship descended through the clouds. Its engines glowed blue, sending waves of dust across the valley. The villagers gathered, staring in fear and wonder. They had seen human ships before from a distance, but never this close. From the ramp stepped Commander Lewis and a small team of scientists and guards. They wore white suits with shining helmets, their badges glinting in the sunlight. Lewis looked around, scanning the crowd before spotting Maria. "Lieutenant Evans," he called, "you've been busy." Maria saluted quickly. "Sir, welcome to Aru, please. Tread carefully. The local environment is sensitive." Lewis's sharp eyes moved to the glowing lumina tree. "So this is the energy source your readings picked up. Remarkable." His gaze shifted toward Karev, who stood half behind Maria. "And this must be the local who caused the surge." Karev froze. Maria stepped forward protectively. "He's just a child, sir. Whatever happened, it was not intentional." Lewis frowned. "Maybe not, but we can't ignore readings like this. Our scientists need to run tests. If there's energy here strong enough to power ships, Earth needs to understand it." Maria took a slow breath. "Understanding is fine, Commander, but not exploitation. The energy belongs to this world." Lewis gave a thin smile. "We'll decide that after we analyze it." That night, tension filled the village. The humans set up research tents near the lumina tree, placing scanners and lights everywhere. The villagers watched in silence, uneasy. Maria sat with Karev near the edge of the camp. He looked up at her, his silver glow pulsing faintly. "They don't feel the tree like we do," he said sadly. "They only see light and power." Maria sighed. "Humans can be like that sometimes. We see something new and our first instinct is to study it, or control it. But not all humans are that way." "You are not," Karev said quietly. "You listen," she smiled. "Maybe because I met you." Late that night, alarms echoed across the camp. Maria ran from her tent as bright energy lines flashed up the trunk of the lumina tree. The scientists were shouting, their instruments beeping wildly. "Commander," one of them yelled. "The energy levels are rising on their own." "We didn't trigger anything?" Maria looked toward the glowing branches and saw Karev standing beneath them. "Karev," she cried, running forward. "What are you doing?" He turned to her, his eyes filled with light. "The tree is speaking again. It says the balance is breaking. It needs help." Lewis grabbed his communicator. "Get him out of there!" Maria pushed past the guards. "Wait, don't touch him." But it was too late. One of the humans tried to pull Karev back, and the instant he did, a wave of silver energy burst outward. Everyone fell to the ground as the light surged through the valley, bright as 1,000 suns. Then, silence. Maria opened her eyes slowly. The air shimmered like heat and everything felt still, frozen in silver light. Around her, the other humans were unconscious, breathing but unmoving. Only she and Karev were awake. "Karev," she whispered. "What happened?" He looked frightened but calm. "The tree protected itself. It stopped time, or something like it." Maria stood shakily. "You stopped it, didn't you?" He shook his head. "It stopped because of me. The world does not want to be hurt again." They stood in the glowing quiet for a long moment. Then from the base of the lumina tree a familiar figure appeared, the same silver being from before. "Karev of Xenor," it said gently. "The human world has touched your light. Now a choice must be made." Maria stepped forward. "What choice?" "The humans will awaken soon. If they take what they do not understand, Xenor will fall back into silence. But if you join your light with theirs, if you teach them balance, both your kinds may grow stronger." Maria's eyes widened. "Join? How?" "Not with machines," the being said, "but with understanding. With friendship." Karev looked up at Maria. "It wants us to share the light, not the power." Maria nodded slowly. "Then let's show them." The silver glow faded and time began to move again. The humans stirred, groaning in confusion. The scanners flickered and died, unable to capture what had just occurred. Commander Lewis staggered to his feet. "Evans, what in the world happened?" Maria looked at him calmly. "Xenor happened, sir. The planet defended itself. We were warned." Lewis rubbed his head. "Defended itself from us?" "Yes," Maria said firmly. "Because we tried to take without asking. This world isn't just soil and minerals, it's alive. And this child," she motioned to Karev, "is its voice." Lewis stared at her for a long time. "You're telling me this alien child is some kind of planetary interface?" Maria nodded. "Call it what you like. But if we hurt him, we'll lose any chance to understand the real power of Xenor, the power of connection." The scientists murmured quietly. Some looked skeptical, but others were listening with new respect. Karev stepped forward. His small crystal hand reached toward Lewis. "We can share. The light is not only for Xenor. It can teach your world how to heal, not how to destroy." Lewis hesitated. The air shimmered faintly around the boy's hand. Slowly, the commander reached out and touched it. For a moment, their fingers met, and a pulse of soft silver light passed between them. Lewis gasped. Images flashed through his mind. Forests growing, oceans glowing, stars forming across dark space. When the light faded, he looked at Karev with wide eyes. "You're right," he whispered. "It's not a weapon, it's life." The next day, the humans packed up most of their heavy equipment. The villagers watched as they carefully powered down their machines and turned off their scanners. Instead of taking samples, they began taking notes, drawings, language studies, cultural exchanges. Maria and Karev worked side by side, helping the two species communicate. Under the lumina tree, Maria spoke to a group of curious villagers. "On Earth," she explained, "we believe that friendship can build bridges stronger than any metal. Maybe that's why we came here, to build one between our worlds." The High Elder nodded slowly. "Perhaps the curse we saw was never darkness. Perhaps it was light too bright for us to see." Karev smiled. "Now you see it." Weeks later, the day came for the humans to leave. Maria stood with Karev at the base of the lumina tree. The silver leaves rustled softly above them. "You'll come back, right?" Karev asked. Maria knelt beside him. "I promise. And when I do, I'll bring more humans, and the kind who want to learn, not take." He smiled faintly. "The tree says it trusts you." Maria looked up at the glowing branches. "Tell the tree it taught me something too, that sometimes the smallest light can wake a whole world." The transport ship's engines hummed to life. Maria looked back one last time as she walked up the ramp. Karev waved, his silver light glowing bright in the sunlight. As the ship lifted off, Commander Lewis stood beside her. "You were right, Evans," he said quietly. "The boy, he's not a resource. He's a reminder." Maria smiled. "Yes. He reminded us what being human really means." They both looked out the window as Xenor grew smaller below them, a world shining softly in silver and gold, alive and awake once more. And somewhere beneath the twin suns, a young alien boy sat under the lumina tree, feeling the pulse of the planet, not alone anymore but connected to the stars.